sorry, I missed the connection between the bounty hunter thing and this person that you want to protect.
Yeah, we were sent to get someone and bring them in, and it turned out who we were sent to get was a little kid, and so they were in a bad spot. We helped them escape and did not turn in the bounty, and were sort of disgraced from the Bounty Hunters Guild and can't do that anymore. So we ran to a place where we could hide, the bottom of this space station, and because our sort of bounty hunter team all agreed to do this, we're a lot more like a family, which is part of the flaws that I put for my character. But I don't know. I'm open to who or what this kid is like.
Is there a reason why it's not another PC?
No.
Okay.
If somebody wants to slot into that and be part of the gang, or at least be related to the gang, I guess. I guess it doesn't have to be a kid either. It was just somebody I thought who,
someone you didn't think, you didn't want to turn in.
Right.
Yeah, and they couldn't.
I was gonna say, I suspect you would be very happy to turn me in for money. I mean, maybe not one-on-one. I don't think I'm the kind of character that tugs on people's heartstrings superficially.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be a PC either.
Right.
I'm happy to have it be an NPC.
I don't think I see it being me, but I don't think so. Probably.
Okay.
I wasn't sure how Bethany thought of Jasper. I don't see it being Omega because I don't think Omega would be a person he would be like, yeah, maybe we should turn Omega in. So.
Well, why don't I just have it be this like squid boy kid? Do you remember the squid that's born in the first Men in Black movie? The ladies in labor in the back of the car.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
So that, but like 10 to 12-year-old
squid boy. Okay.
State. Yeah.
Perfect. We need some NPCs.
Probably needs a better name than Squid Boy.
Probably, yeah. Look at the random names for one of these.
I mean, I guess squid aren't octopuses, but I was gonna say, is Octavian too like?
It's not bad.
They have more. They have 10 tentacles, so it's even like a little bit off.
Yeah. Well, I'll put Squid Boy, and then we can answer other people's questions, and I'll come up with a name. Where was that big name list? I saw one.
There's one in the book, yeah.
There is one in the book, yeah.
Oh, in the book. I have that open.
Question is how to find it.
I might be wrong. I thought there was one in the book, but like searching for name lists or names is not really finding me anything.
There is under each playbook, there's a choose a name, which is a little short list of names, so that's not bad.
I think there's like a longer list, but there's a ton under the playbooks that we're not going to use. So
I'll come up with something.
We could maybe. I don't know how you feel about this, Jason. But presumably the squid. I don't know how. The question becomes how much we want to center this squid lad. Right. But if there was a bounty on their head, and like there must be something that is wanted about them, and I could just as easily make that the answer to my history question, which is what have I never yet traded in and why?
Oh, yeah.
Right. That I sell basically everything, including sometimes people. I am not a good person.
Okay.
Squid Boy.
But Squid Boy, for whatever reason, and I need to come up with a why, but I feel like that will end up kind of centering Squid Boy a little bit more in the narrative, which I just want to make sure everyone is like cool with that.
No,
I don't have a problem with it, but I don't necessarily want to hog all the
Right.
spotlight with that.
That's fine. Inevitably, like roughly one question from each person's playbook will just end up driving everything. But they, at least, I don't know, it seems that way from the few games like this that I've played. They kind of, they get combined in interesting ways, and like or more than half of the things that you actually put in your playbook are just kind of fall by the wayside. But the one that matters really matters.
Okay.
That might just be like coincidence.
Oh, there's no such thing.
Okay. So I'm just going to keep that there then, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Although for some reason I can't get it to stop being struck through.
I can help. Where are you at? What row is it on?
There you go.
32. There we go, yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I think it may have been a couple hashes in the text that you wrote. May have been a code.
Could be. I am not code savvy.
My history question is, what was the first time my powers manifested and who got hurt? Or what vision of my future have I seen? Does anyone want to have been hurt by my powers?
I'd be happy to. It's likely I would be in the way.
Okay.
Rolling around pretending like I protect this place.
Oh, maybe I stood up to you, which would answer your relationship question, and that's...
Yeah, that would be fun.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. When was the first time? What are my powers again? I have them written down here. Prophecy, Chimera, Dreamwalker, Malediction would obviously hurt someone. And my gifts aren't fully under my control, so yeah, that's just a recipe for disaster there.
I'm doing something wrong. I can't seem to type in the white box under my relationship. Or am I just supposed to type down here in relationships?
And wait, where?
Well, under the relationship question, I was going to type in there and put Jasper. But...
Oh, no, that should work fine. I wonder if the text is the wrong color or something.
I'm wondering if...
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is why I need to check my character keepers a little bit closer.
Okay. Do you have an idea of what you stood up to me about?
No, I am not sure about that. What would be important enough to stand up to? Huh. So like what? I guess. You were bounty hunters, but what does your gang do now?
Well, now we sort of take on this sort of authoritative, like, well, we'll protect this space because we want to protect our family, and so we've sort of adopted this section of the space station as ours, but not with anyone's permission or request.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But you're protecting this section of the space station.
Well, I imagine this section. Maybe there are several gangs because I also have the a rival gang disputes the territory. As a weakness. But we're high tech and highly defensible and respected. So.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I got involved in that dispute with the other gang, and I have some connection to the other gang, and was like,
that could be. Do you know the gang's name?
I do not. What is another gang? It's a good gang name. I'm looking at the character names, and I'm like, none of these are great gang names, except Mercy is kind of a good ironic gang name.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Or like the Mercies or something along those lines. Just
okay. I'm just gonna say when they were with Mercy.
yeah.
Maybe that's their gang leader.
Oh, maybe, yeah. That could work. Let's see. Okay.
Sisters of Mercy.
Yes.
I found the Star Wars name generators for Nautilin, Corrin, and Mon Calamari, and I'm looking at
There you go.
different types of names.
Yeah, I'm looking at a Mon Calamari random name generator, and it's they're all ridiculous and hard to say, and that's perfect.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I just lost a great. Also, I cannot distinguish between the male names and the female names, and that is perfect.
Yeah, that's ideal. Oh man, the Corrin name is Trglump Thrall, which is.
I just stuck one in chat that I wasn't even going to try to say.
Oh, where's that? Holy moly! I have to be able to pronounce some of it.
I actually
we could call him Winky.
I actually kind of like that a lot. Actually, that's great.
Right,
I also kind of like this one, which is pronounceable but silly. Kudrum Nathu.
Yeah, that's good, but I like the Winky angle.
Winky is good, yeah. Ruff Winkyo becomes Winky, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like he's constantly like, guys, my name's not that hard to say. Like it's Ruff Winkyo Nashik. What's wrong with you? Except there's all this like back of the throat glottal component to it that no one can say because they only have one epiglottis.
Right. That constant the vra sound vraf is like there's like also like weird tongue stuff going on in the F.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just transliterated into, letters that humans can pronounce. The real one sound is.
Excuse me.
You need, a weird spiral tongue and an extra epiglottis and tentacles.
Oh, that was a great suggestion. Thanks, man.
Like phonemes that are not physically possible for. I know we're not quite there yet, Bethany, but just to put it out there, I am not 100% clear on all of the like mechanics of tokens and complications and resources and scrutiny questions and things like that, which I'm sure we'll figure out and play just fine. I just wanted to put it out there that I'm not. I've like read through it and I like kind of get the basic gist, but
Yeah, it's it took me. I had to read through like that part a couple times before I realized what was. I don't think it's terribly complicated to do, although I haven't played it yet. But I think the text may have been overly complicated. Cool. So, Rich, do you know what past action you feel terribly guilty about?
I think I killed the other Nashik.
Oh no.
The sister, the squid girl.
Oh wow. Okay.
Either that or I killed a few members of Zan's gang before they.
Maybe all of the above.
Yeah, maybe that too. I'm okay with that.
Shattered past murder. Okay. Yep.
Not to stick my nose in because I'm sure you've both noticed it, but Lenny has "What have I hooked you on?" and Jasper has "How do you call on your gifts?" Drugs.
I missed that.
I think we have the answer to that question.
Yeah,
I'm real excited about that.
Yes. Oh yes.
I had not noticed.
Do you have a sense of like like what that drug is, what that looks like? If not, I can just stick drugs there. But if you have something a little bit,
Yeah, I don't have anything
drugs it is.
off the top of
Space
my
dust.
head as being. Yeah, it probably comes from some like plant or fungus that's like grown in the hydroponic lab in secret.
Mm-hmm.
It's not supposed to be there, but someone who works there, like, maybe it is a fungus or a mold or something
Mm-hmm.
that they can hide among the plants they're supposed to be growing.
Mm-hmm.
Can't spell fun without fungus.
Right.
Stop. My dog is. God.
That's what they do.
That's how they
It's
do.
not-
Yeah.
It's not as cute as Jason's dog. He's just insistent.
I think every dog is cute in their own way.
Here he is.
He's pretty cute.
Hey, look at wow, that's
He's saying, he's like, I'll lick you or I'll nip at you. It's all
I'm also
now.
jealous because I can never get my dog to appear on camera.
oh.
He's only 7 months old. He's going to be a monster.
Oh,
my
wow,
God.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Chill out. Chill out. Okay.
My little one's about like almost a year and a half now. She's full size.
Yeah, so I think Omega, or you can call Omega, was an assassin, not really a bounty hunter,
Okay.
unless the bounty was kill. And Omega has ended up here.
Yeah, there could be some interesting conflict between Winky and you then. And
Yeah.
and Winky could drag Zen's gang into it.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Okay. Hmm.
Stop.
Is that the secret you wish I hadn't discovered?
Sure. It's very inconvenient.
Yeah.
Is anyone likely to have fought shoulder to shoulder with me? Because I can swap it out for something else.
Absolutely, Omega would have fought shoulder to shoulder with you at some point, perhaps before you gave up the life of being a bounty hunter.
Oh, before the space station time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wonder when that was. Maybe we, even before we were bounty hunters and assassins, we came from some sort of military organization
I'm interested in that.
or
that
government program.
I like the idea of being a member of the Confederati military or a program.
Yeah, okay. Okay. When Omega and I were in the program. That's fun. Oh, I just had a good idea. I'm going to put a highlight background color of Omega's behind Omega's link.
That's a good idea.
Jasper, I'm going to get that purple.
That's a good plan.
Because my brain is like Swiss cheese and will not hold on to this information.
That is why I color code everything too.
Yeah, it's super handy.
feel like my eyes can't tell the difference between those colors sufficiently for it to be helpful to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's why it's for you and not for me. Anyone here make a deal with me that they reneged on? Because if not, I can switch that up to something else also.
Let's see. I don't think Zen would back out on a deal, unless it turned out the deal wasn't what it originally was. Would Lenny misrepresent what the deal was in the beginning?
I mean, certainly in principle, but I think the way I'm kind of reading this particular question, it's that it's not it's like Lenny would certainly misrepresent the deal, but I think that this is the kind of situation where it's like there was something specific you were supposed to, like, in order for the like, he wouldn't necessarily hold it against you.
Yeah.
If once it becomes clear, you end up backing out in that way.
Sure.
Like, but when the deal is clear and you're just like, fuck that, no, I can't do it. And if it wasn't for our pre-existing relationship with Winky, I think that would have been a good thing. But I like because I also have the hunted background. I like this Winky business enough.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah, I don't think Zen's that one then.
Omega, any chance you reneged on a deal, or perhaps someone just trusts me completely, which is very foolish, but there are fools and suckers every day, and those are the people who I make my living off of.
I'm happy to be either one of those. Someone who reneged on a deal because the percentage calculations no longer benefited me, or I trust you implicitly.
So let's make it the first. And I think, like, maybe the deal was you were supposed to be sort of like muscle on a drug run. Oh, there's that barking. You were supposed to be muscle on a drug run, and then, like, at the last minute, you backed out because we can say because the like, you just, something changed in the risk, and you were like, well, now even though it was signed and sealed, the money's not worth it anymore.
Yes.
Does that work for you?
Yes, the constabulary was involved, and that is beyond my desire for risk capacity. So, Omega, how has Omega's presence disrupted one of your lives?
Well, it could easily have, been an upsetting link to a past I wanted to leave behind.
That could also be the answer. In what way are we alike? Like, either one of those could be.
Well, yeah, that's true, actually. I'll go last on that one. Let other people jump in.
In what way has Omega's presence disrupted your life, Lenny or Jasper?
I have an idea for how we're alike. If you wanna pull that way.
Okay.
I think we both are always calculating the angles. It's kind of what it sounds like. Does that fit your image of Omega?
Yes.
I have an idea for disrupted.
Sure.
What if? So I don't think Zen knows that Omega killed Winky's sister, because otherwise we'd have a real situation.
Yeah, and also it's a secret that Jasper
exactly.
knows. So
But what if the act of, you did that assassination and that was what like turned Winky's life upside down and, like factored into my whole decision to rescue him instead of, just doing the job. But you sort of tipped the balance with your assassination attempt. Does that feel like
it wasn't an attempt. I did.
Well, I mean, you got the sister, but maybe you were supposed to get both of them?
Sure.
Or maybe I went to get Winky because his sister had been killed and, something like that.
Sure.
It's fun.
So, who has a completely ordinary relationship with me? And how is it ordinary?
Can you tell me a little bit? I have an idea, but I'd like to know a little bit more about Jasper because you have hidden for everything and no pronouns. So like I don't know how.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure how much of that is yes, it's hidden, and how much of that is me not being like, oh, I'll decide this later. I think that they are very secretive, though.
Okay. So here's the idea. Feel free to say no. What if Jasper and Omega are chat buddies on some kind of internet relay, and they have completely mundane playing VR sim video games and chatting?
That's perfect. Yes.
Okay. Cool. And of course, Omega doesn't go by Omega on that.
But do they even know who they're talking to?
I think it would be cool if neither of them know who they're talking to.
Awesome. Is that all of our relationships?
I gotta figure out a past action I feel terrible guilt about for history, but I think the relationships are answered, yes.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you have a variety to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
But whether you feel guilty about them or not is the question.
Indeed.
Oh, okay. I guess we're actually not done with under relationships. Those are basically Dungeon World bonds. It's like whatever your opinion is about that person. But when those change, you mark the little boxes after them. And when you get 3 of them, something else, I think you just rewrite it and
I haven't played Dungeon World, but I will trust you to tell me what to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's like it's basically your opinion, like your character's opinion of that other character, but in a way that it's something that you can act on. So I'm trying to think of a good example for these.
Well, that's okay. I imagine I'll get some clues from seeing how people do it, or if anyone makes a suggestion, I'm open to that.
Trying to just look for the thing that happens once you change it 3 times. It's one of the ways your character can develop and improve. Rules are on page 52. Okay.
I'm sorry. How do we track the ticks on those relationships? Like every answer that we have was on our relationship questions, or like, do I get a? Don't know.
So the relationships, it's. I don't know if you took an answer or if you took it.
It's on page 52, if that's helpful.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it. So like basically whenever, right, whenever you sort of like have an interaction with that person, that character over the relationship, like in a way that reflects that relationship, you tick the box. And then when you mark, I believe, if it's like bonds, and then you discuss, like, then you say, okay, so now this has changed, right? We've like interacted enough about this issue for it to have evolved somehow. So you talk about how it evolves and you rewrite the relationship. And in addition, you also get a new strength or weakness.
That's it. Okay.
And then you start over. You erase all the.
Okay, so we start with no relationships. Once we'll start ticking the boxes when scenes happen, right?
I
Right.
think
Oh,
you start with them, right?
Yeah, you can have a relationship that you start with.
Like if you don't have the relationship, then you can't like advance. Like you need to have a relationship in order to advance it, or you cannot have a relationship. Then when you finish like after interactions, when you finish marking the boxes, you can then create one. I think.
Yeah, that's right.
I was just reading it now, so I think that's what it is.
And you can actually have relationships with both PCs and NPCs.
So the thing I'm not entirely clear on about the relationships is like what happens at this phase. Like, do we just decide, okay, I want relationships with all of the PCs, or like is it just sort of, well, whatever you feel like, or is there like a recommended number?
Yeah, I mean you have up to 4, and I mean it makes sense to just put all of them. But yeah, I don't know. Any that you can think of, like that you have or that you can make a statement about. I guess, let's see.
So like maybe for a relationship I might have with you, Jasper. Tell me if this works for you. Although is something along the lines of Jasper always needs their fix. I wonder what motivates their drug use, or something like that. I must discover what motivates their drug use, if only to get them more deeply hooked.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
No, that works. That works really well. Yeah, I was going to put something about like. Oh, okay.
So I'll just put down a space for all the PCs.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
So let's see. Think of how to put it, but yeah, mine is something along the lines of it's opposing that. It's like Lenny provides the drugs I use to access my powers. If they knew why I did it, they'd charge more.
Yeah. I like that. And Rich, how does this sound like for a relationship with you? Tell me if this like fits. I need to get my hooks more deeply into Omega. Omega would be a valuable asset.
Omega agrees with that. As does Rich.
And the whole thing is, right, like you don't need to succeed at these necessarily. It's just that like these are ways that we're rubbing up against each other. And then like once we've interacted enough, presumably something has changed in that, even if the thing wasn't, wasn't actually. I like this better than like bonds that just kind of resolve. This is like, it gives you something that friction against, but there's still a mode to advance without just.
Yeah. Yep. I think. Yeah, because like Dungeon World, it's either it's resolved or it's not, and there's no progression to it.
Right. This is very cool. I like this a lot.
Let's see, what do I have to say about Zen?
Well, Lenny, would it be all right if I said something like, I hope Lenny doesn't find out that squid people are often like harvested to make drugs from?
Sure. I like that irony because, of course, Lenny does know that. And right, the whole thing is that he could sell Winky and hasn't. But I like that you're sort of like trying to keep. I like that. I like that a lot.
I'm gonna say squid people. I don't know, glands. I don't know. That's gross either way, but
yeah.
Hey, Rich. For Omega, if I put down like Zen wishes Omega could be a drinking buddy because they share so much, but it's like I'm trying to say like that's too dark a road. Like, can you think of a way to connect that?
I'm not sure I understand. So
like Zen sees Omega as like this acquaintance at least from the past, and thinks like, oh yeah, it would be cool to have a friend, but they're not friends, and I'm trying because Omega is who Omega is. But I don't know. Maybe that I just need to cogitate on that a little more.
Yes, they could be associates. They could have conversations. I would imagine that the fact that Omega has murdered a few of your gang would make Omega slightly nervous about those times, but Omega would judge it as a calculated risk.
But I don't know Omega has done that, right?
No, you don't, because Omega wouldn't tell you that. Omega's not foolish.
Yeah. So I think Omega, like, I want to establish the war buddy relationship, and I don't understand why Omega is standoffish about it.
Yeah, I like that. Sounds good.
So I know you've answered this already, Zen, but what's the deal with your gang?
So we're a former bounty hunter crew. We were like the crew of a ship, like like a Firefly crew, that sort of thing. And we collectively made this decision that saving Winky was the right thing to do, but that decision like just tanked our bounty hunting career.
So what's your role here on the space station?
We've taken up residence in this part of the space station, and in doing so, kind of did so through tough talk and violent capabilities.
So, like, how do you support yourselves? Do you run protection rackets? Are you like kind of like a little mob? Are you like, do you hire out to like sort of bigger fish? Because it sounds like you're kind of a little bit of a big fish yourself. Like, I guess how big a fish are you in this pond that is the bottom of this spaceship? I guess is what I want to know.
Well, I mean, we have a rival gang that disputes the territory, so we're at least as small as this other gang, or otherwise they wouldn't be a threat.
Right.
And I think we could be a big deal if we had, I think it's also the problem is like, we're not the kind of people who would just like, okay, let's go in the dead of night, assassinate that other gang and be done with it. Like we probably could pull that off because, they're a gang of people who are super tough and grew up here and can do all that stuff. But we're like, ex-military types, but mostly we just want to lay low. So I think part of it is we had a bunch of money that would have gone towards, servicing our ship and living the life. But, so we're living on some savings. And then, yes, we also hire out as like bodyguards and, to handle disputes. I think if merchants are, I think, we sort of patrol even, like if there's a thief in the market, we'll chase someone down. We're just sort of self-appointed cop types.
Got it. So you're kind of like, and maybe it's mostly out of a benevolent place, but you're sort of like trying to establish yourself as a power base here, and you have this rivalry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And like whether that's like because you want it to be a safe, comfortable, happy place for people to live, or because you want power, Lenny doesn't see the first thing anyway, so I think that's fine, right? Like,
yeah. Their motivations may not be entirely clear either, because they're putting on this very sort of outwardly tough face, and yeah.
Right. I think it's going to be something like, I just want to talk this out. I think I like the idea that like Lenny wants to keep the two gangs in kind of a balance of power where neither one gets too strong, because number one, that means he can continue sort of like selling shit to both. Not just drugs, but weapons, and like feeding that rivalry is something like he deals with everybody. And if one of them gets the upper hand, then the one with the upper hand can then try to strong arm him more. But I'm trying to think of a way to like word that as a relationship with you. I think it's something like
you're playing both sides and hope I don't find out, something like that.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I think though, like I actually don't think that's a secret. Like I bill myself as like a neutral broker, but I think it's more like not just I'm playing both sides, but that like I have skin in the game. I'm not actually a neutral broker, and I'm invested in neither one of you getting the upper hand. So I think it's something like I'm always looking for Zen's weaknesses and strengths, out of fear that he may get too strong or too weak, or out of fear that the gang may get too strong and too weak, or too weak.
Okay.
Is that
makes sense? Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think my opinion of Zen is that I think that Zen's gang like brings more chaos down here than like they sort of build themselves as peacekeepers, but we were doing fine before they got here.
That sounds good. Hold on, I'm hearing strange dog noises. I'll be right back.
Did they make another kind of noise? Rich, I like that relationship.
Thanks.
Oh, those are good. Yeah. I guess still.
Kind of imagining that Omega, back when Zen knew Omega first, Omega was a regular bipedal organic, probably looked, may have even been human, or whatever this setting calls human, maybe the same species as Lenny. And over the course of continuing to improve their skill set, kept trading in body parts and being upgraded. That is the hybrid part of Omega. So that's, yeah. And at this point, they are curious about Jasper's spirituality, because like humanity doesn't make sense in this setting, especially with Jasper, but also terrified because it's so confusing.
I think that's a little bit mutual there. Like, I think that Jasper definitely thinks of Omega as a threat. don't know why they're keeping that secret though.
I could always, I mean, if Jasper's selfish enough to say, if you think that, well, if you think Zin's a threat, right, or dangerous, having
Could just
Omega in
be
your back pocket,
yeah. That's
nice
true.
ace in the hole.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm saving that for like that's a big secret, and I don't want to just spend it on anything, right?
Yeah, and make sure I know that Jason and I talk side, but just to make sure you've got it. You not only know that Omega killed Winky's sister, but also several members of Zen's gang.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. That yeah, my interest in like kind of keeping things peaceful might be a reason enough to do that. Like, oh yeah, now what yeah. Like now there'll be a three-way gang war um if Zen finds out about this. So maybe it's more that than just blackmail material.
Right. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And I'm imagining that Omega killed them before Omega was aware, like, oh, this is members of Zen's gang. Whoops. Well, I'll just burn those bodies. Because that would make Zen very angry.
Does your gang have a name? Sorry.
Oh, I don't yet. Shoot, I need one.
The Zenonites.
I don't know. I don't know about that one. I love it, but I don't know. Jason loves it, but okay, I have to think about that. Jasper. I was thinking of saying I respect that Jasper stood up to us, but I don't understand why they don't want the order that we could bring.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's if Omega's secret gets out, we'll have more fighting on our hands.
Better. I like that.
Because then you're sort of independently motivated to help Zen hide things. Right. I mean, help Omega hide things. Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, I kind of have the exact opposite motivation from Lenny, in that I want things to calm down. I don't like this, turf war that Zen's gang has brought, and I don't like that Omega's here at all. And the last thing I want is to prolong the conflict.
To be clear, Lenny does not want the conflict to get any worse either. He wants it at this nice kind of slow boil. Because too much conflict is bad for business also. You need just enough.
Yeah, just the right amount of churn.
Yeah.
How is it that a character played by Wallace Shawn has slowly become very Ferengi-like?
I mean, that's look, I'm going to be very upfront about this, and I was like a little bit uncomfortable actually with like where I decided to go with this, like with where I was starting and where I was going, because like I was starting with a very particular like kind of classic American Jewish archetype, and I've leaned a little bit in the framing into some of the kind of uglier parts of that stereotype, I think, but I'm hoping to do something more, to do something better with it as the time as in play. So I'm like I'm both aware and a little bit uncomfortable with it, but also I think it kind of works. We'll see.
I guess that touches on that touches on something that it's, I guess, a good time to discuss lines and veils, or which is kind of an I guess it's a perfectly reasonable tool to use even when we're all the GM. But I guess my only thing with regard to tone and content is that I would like to not see this turn into an analog of real life conflicts.
Mhm.
Like it's really easy to make different species stand in for different real life groups, and then like the fights between them turn into real historical moments, and I'd rather not do that.
Mhm.
Other than that, I don't really have anything to add.
I'd like to have a line on sort of sexual violence.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's likely to come up, but I would at the very least like a veil on like violence or harm to domestic animals. You know, I think I'm okay with like talking about the guy who kicks his pet's base slug, but I don't want to see that happen.
Right. Okay. That's good. I'll add that too.
A lot of times too, I ask for a veil on violence against kids, and I don't necessarily want to say that this time, just because Winky's in the mix, and that should be a potential pressure point. If we could just sort of keep it reasonable.
Yeah, it can be veiled.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
You just fade to black if something like that happens.
Great.
Yeah, I think Veil's perfectly fine, and I also would not. Like, I will tell you, Omega is not a torturer in any way. Omega's an assassin. It is way different.
Mm-hmm.
So I find torture to be abhorrent and also incredibly ineffective, like in the real world, and the stupid thing that I don't want in any game I play. So
yeah, ditto.
I also now have decided that Omega has a Kowakian spider lizard or monkey lizard as a pet.
Cool.
So,
is this like a scaly monkey or a furry lizard, or what is your image here?
Oh, don't worry. When I show you the image, you'll be like, "Oh, that." Let me find the picture. And while it is a biped, it is not intelligent. Like, it can kind of say a few words like a parrot, but it needs to be cared for.
That is horrendous.
I love those things.
Me too. They're the best.
Oh,
I never knew what they were called.
I don't know how I knew that, but I instantly knew what you were talking about.
Yes!
Remember
that's that thing's it's actually called Kowakian monkey lizard?
Yes. Salacious Crumb is a Kowakian monkey lizard.
I thought you just made up that name because it describes it.
Yep. I don't make up much.
Does he have a beak?
Yes, kind of.
That's horrendous.
It's pretty gross, but they cuddle like nobody's business. So
okay.
I think this is something Lenny sold, Omega.
Oh, sure. I can find all the various different exotic fauna and flora. For the right price. I know a guy.
Nice. I dig it.
Cool. I'm looking forward to the monkey lizard's antics. Although every time I have a pet in a game, I tend to just forget about them. Like, oh, it's been there all along. I just just been quiet.
When I was like a teenager and preteen playing my first games of like second edition AD&D, and like I always wanted the ranger with the pet. And like I never knew what to do with the pet. I knew I wanted it. I wanted I wanted that animal in the game, and I never had any idea how to handle it.
Yeah.
I solved that by playing the druid and just turning into my pet.
There you go.
Be your own pet.
Yeah, I play Ranger a lot, and Dungeon World or D&D, and also a druid a lot. And yeah, like I never really I use the pet outside of fights, but I never actually remember that like the pet can do stuff during fights. So I guess the wise thing would do to be to pick a small harmless pet that wouldn't do anything in a fight anyway.
Yeah.
Just pick a ferret.
Yeah, ferret would be good.
Yeah, I usually pick birds that are like, hey, keep watch, take a look out, just stay out of the fight, bird. So I wouldn't want you to get hurt anyway. Okay, what's next?
I think we're done with. Well, we're not. Well, we're done with. Oh, right, we're done with character setup, but there's also situations, which I kind of forgot about there for a minute.
Yeah, how does that part work? I was looking at it a little bit, but I don't really understand.
Yeah, so this is the everybody is the GM part. You kind of get to claim an aspect of the world and use it in scenes, and just kind of act as the GM when you see an opportunity for your situation to come up.
Okay.
That makes sense. Including any NPCs that sort of come out of your situation.
Okay.
So like if your situation is the gangs, you would also have you would kind of also have the members of the rival gangs, but the thing about Flotsam that I'm sure we're going to forget a lot is that to invent something, you're supposed to just come up with like a vague notion of it and ask someone else a question about it. To answer it. So, be like, oh, what is the name of the rival gang? Or what are they like? And you ask someone else and they answer it. To kind of, I guess, keep I guess to prevent everyone sort of thinking of NPCs as belonging to a specific person, I guess is the reason for that. Because anybody can use something once it's created, other than PCs. So, like, if you create a gang member to use when you're in the gang, or the person in charge of the gangs, but then like, this person in charge of spirits also has a use for them. They can totally use them.
Cool. Well, I'll get out in front and say I'm hoping to not pick the gangs column. Right. So if anybody else wants that, feel free. It feels a little self-serving. So
yeah, that's the other thing is like you definitely want to pick something that your character is not likely to be interacting with.
Yeah. Cool.
Right.
So I'm not picking the spirits.
Right. I also don't think I should. I mean, we also don't have. They don't all have to be picked, right?
No, I mean they can't all be.
Right. So like we can also just.
Just pick up and use if you see an opportunity? But
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Can I grab poverty?
Cool. Yeah.
I mean, we're all likely to be interacting with that to some extent or another, but I think it's interesting. So how does this work? Do I like fill in the blanks, like, or is it just sort of this is like a tool to spark thinking about things?
There's a drop down thingy there, right?
Yeah. You do pick the answer to that one question.
Oh, I didn't. I had to reload the character keeper, and so when I first looked, I didn't see it there.
Oh, okay.
Got it. So that's why because the tabs had not reloaded yet.
Yeah, and the areas of focus are just like things to think about and ask questions about.
Great.
Was anyone else wanting to pick community? Because I've got other choices too.
I feel like somebody should pick gangs, and if Jason isn't and Jesse's chosen, then Bethany, were you interested in gangs?
I can take gangs. I don't think I'll be interacting with them a lot.
Okay. I'm not trying to force you into gangs. I'm just trying to. I was checking in because I feel like gangs should be out there, and I'd take it if nobody else did. But
I don't know. Are you likely to interact with them much? I don't know which of us is.
Well, considering Jasper fought with the opposing gangs.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. On the other hand, maybe I shouldn't take gangs.
And Omega is more of a lone star kind of.
I also think we're just like we're all kind of likely to interact with all of these things. It seems like the more I think about it, and that may also be part of why it's more about questioning than just coming up with stuff, because that way, like in a scene where like I'm dealing with, you know, a poor person who desperately needs something I have control of, like I can ask you guys a question and you can throw it back at me rather than have me play both sides of the, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that makes sense also.
Sure.
I feel like somebody should choose Spirit specifically because of Jasper. Like that should exist. So I'm torn. Which should I take, gangs or spirit? I'm less good with spirits, but I also playing gangs while playing Omega is almost could be. Yeah. I have ways to differentiate them that could be interesting too. So I don't know. Of GM games, I could do whatever. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm good with whatever too.
I mean, you can also, like I said, if there is one that hasn't been claimed and you see an opportunity to use it, you can just pick it up and use it.
Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and just claim community, if that's okay. Because I really like some of the options in there. I'd love to focus on that.
It seems like community, poverty, gangs, and spirits are going to be the most important, at least for now. So I don't want to take spirits, so I can take
All
gangs.
right. I'll take spirits.
To make sure I understood, Bethany, your line earlier, because I think I understand, I just want to make sure. Picking a source of social division like ethnic groups, religious differences, things like that would be the having analogs of real life things, right?
Not necessarily. Only if it's like a social division that is either exists or that is like an obvious metaphor for one that exists, if that makes sense. But like, I mean,
Sure.
people are different groups of people are not going to get along, and it doesn't really matter. But like, I just don't want it to be. Yeah, I don't want to like reenact a real life issue, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand so I don't end up treading on that.
No, I don't think anything in there is specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what I hear is kind of like that shitty Star Trek episode where it's basically the PLO against the Israelis, except the PLO have crap on their nose.
Yeah,
that kind of deal. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
terrible.
Yeah.
Like that's still real world issues, but in a sci-fi session, so it's more comfortable. And it's like, but we're just going to retread everything. Yeah, I hate that. I really do.
Oh, now that's interesting. This is the source of social division in the below. So this is like specifically in our sort of cast off society down here.
Yeah.
Huh. The idea of aristocracy in the below seems fascinating. I mean, what would that even look like?
I guess you wouldn't have to be poor to live in the below. There could be other reasons.
Right. There's like one of the choices for poverty was have and have nots also in the I guess, although that could be in the below and not in the below. But like I imagine the aristocracy could be something like crime lords.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it can also doesn't have to be like a financial difference, right? That there could be either a racial and ethnic divide or like a cultural divide. Think like, I don't know, punks and any of the various different like subculture divides where like one has more cachet than the other.
Yeah, well, it has options for like ethnic groups and haves and have-nots and community as well. So I'm really curious to think of how aristocracy would specifically be different from that, given, I mean, that covers the idea of things like in Britain, the peerage and that type of thing, right? Like having a ruling class and a not ruling class, but then having striations within those.
Yeah, I think crime lords would definitely.
Yeah.
Like hereditary crime lords.
Yeah, some like crime, princes and princesses, and maybe there's a better term for that.
I mean that. Well, okay.
What were you gonna say?
That kind of treads on gangs territory, but yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, huh? Okay.
But like all of
stay in your lane, Jason.
No, I want to.
I feel like there's always going to be like there's some bleed between these categories, right? Like poverty, if poverty manifests as widespread crime, it's going to tread on social division and also gangs, and like it's like a little bit inevitable that there'll be.
That is true. Yeah.
Like a certain amount of, unless we decide no, we want to make these like really boxy.
So it seems like the way we've been talking about gangs, that they're not generally crime families or religious orders. Like Zen's gang thinks of themselves as law enforcers, I guess, or something similar. But in general, what are the gangs like?
I guess that depends on, are there a dozen gangs? Are there 4 gangs?
You could I see that I'm looking at the drop down. You could lean into the aristocracy and call it feudal loyalty. Have like little baronies and stuff. That'd be fun.
Yeah, something like that. I was also thinking of what's that?
They could be like aspiring toward that.
Yeah. Another option would be like, there is an aristocracy, and it's like the above has aristocracy, and then like the baronets and the like fifth sons, and the lowest of the low aristocracy is supposed to come down to the below and like apply some sort of order here. Yeah, I think I call it sort of an aristocratic link to the above. Does that kind of make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
Okay.
Cool. So the gangs could be like against them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like an extra faction, and these aristocrats are constantly trying to be the one to tame the below.
Right.
And everyone thinks they know how to do it. Oh, that's gross.
It is, but yeah, that brings a whole lot of drama here, especially because that kind of gives the gangs like a common enemy.
Yeah.
Right. It's like also the like maybe it's a rite of passage for like younger children in above aristocratic families.
Yeah. Or a punishment,
Yeah.
Right.
So like most of them don't even want to be down here. They're just mad about it. And so there's probably a couple who are just apathetic and not willing to do anything anyway. And they're like, fine, I have my little, penthouse that I never have to leave. You do whatever you want. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
And there are others who are probably resentful and taking it out on, all the people that they're nominally in charge of.
Yeah.
And then there's like the others who are wanting to work their way back into the above.
Yeah.
Like the one or two with a real sense of noblesse oblige who are like constantly being suckered by the denizens of the below.
Yeah. Oh, that could be fun.
Good. So in that case, I think the gangs are I almost want to say like guerrilla fighters type, but like they're also gangs, and they also like have so I don't see a really good example. They're not quite small time crooks, but like they are, but they also kind of defend the below.
Right. They're not the resistance, right? Because that's a different thing.
Right.
But they're like they have a sense of like ownership's too strong a word, but like a sense of responsibility.
Yeah. Well, I think
just kind of how Jason was describing Zan's gang a little bit.
Yeah, I think kind of the difference being, the resistance is sort of an organized political movement where gangs are often coalescing around sort of a familial bond feeling. And so, various sizes of gangs, I'm sure, but also they, most of them sort of function as a, family replacement.
Maybe less of a sense of obligation to the entire below and more to their particular like neighborhoods or territories.
Yeah, I think that's like tribal ties, with tribal being a very loosely defined as like their territory or their neighborhood. The lost souls remain below. Okay, cool.
You like that?
I do like that. Mesmer 5. Okay, that is the drug. Is it derived from squid ink?
It is now.
Oh, no.
That is some cold shit.
Wait, no, it's dark.
Also,
indigo, even.
I might not. I might go back on that now that I think about it. That's a little bit too far.
Okay.
Like, it's funny to think about, but then I'm like, no, if we actually use that for nah.
Well, maybe it's less dark if it's something that you don't have to kill squid people for, but can sort of like...
It gives the... Mesmer 5 gets a kick from squid ink.
Oh, there's there's Mesmer 6, which has squid ink in it.
There we go. I'll put that in notes.
Mesmer 9 3/4. I was also... I'm not actually suggesting this, but there's, culture in all its forms, and I thought maybe we have dance battles. But... I think that takes the tone completely the wrong direction.
Very different tones. I don't know. I mean,
No, I'm X-carding it.
Yeah, that's
too silly.
I'd already sort of X-carded myself on that one.
I mean, I personally think that the Beat It music video actually like hits exactly the right mix of dance battle and serious. But I understand why people want to X-card that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it can be done seriously, but I think it would be really hard for us to do it seriously.
Yeah,
if we started from that point,
yes,
I would be okay with it.
Yeah, we could have reined it in and
Okay, can I actually move this in a slightly less silly direction and then tell me if it's like a little bit too like anime bullshit? But we already have like this concept of an aristocracy, and I'm wondering if formal dances as like a social thing are maybe a thing, and like mimicking the sort of like aristocratic balls or whatever.
Oh,
and your actual ability to dance well is important as a part of social status. But that was just my bid to make dance battles more serious. So maybe we should just say no and move on.
I'm open to it, but I'll wait for Rich to weigh in.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys have it because it's collaborative, but I will not engage you in it personally.
I mean, I am not deeply committed to it in any way. We can just pass. I was just like, ooh, but dance is fun.
It's fun, but like X card's an X card. So
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
So given that the dance is not the right tone, I do like the idea that that Jesse has hit a kernel of the idea that there is some sort of aristocratic like tradition, ritual thing that a lot of the the lower class folks will mimic or try to participate in, and I wonder if there is some aspect of that we can reflect onto the I forget what the unaristocratic culture, the plebeians. I wonder if there's some aspect of that we could adopt.
Yeah, I don't know what that aspect would be, but I like that idea and it could be adopted completely seriously by some people and is like mockery by others. Or start serious and then turn into mockery.
Yeah, it could be like a form of dress or some, like superstitious tradition sort of thing. Or, maybe the lower class have adopted titles for themselves when they clearly don't, like, they are not titled. They're not the entitled class. I don't know. We don't have to answer it right now, too. I can just let that sit by the wayside.
I kind of like that titles idea, but I'm wondering how it works. Like, are these titles bestowed on people by, their family or acquaintances or whatever, or do they just are like, oh, I am now Lord Zen?
Yeah, it could be, or like if like we were saying before, if some of the gangs are, those titles are passed down as thief princesses and such. Maybe there's a better sort of gender neutral term for prince, but something like that. Or it might just be an alleyway that we don't have to explore.
Right. Maybe every now and then when we introduce an NPC, we give them a title and see what goes from there.
Sure.
Or not, but let's see how we're feeling as play continues.
Rich, do you have any thoughts on the adoption of titles for the lower class?
It sounds fine.
Okay. Well, maybe we can experiment, and then if it ends up feeling silly, we can exit back out. Because I do like the sort of dark notes that we've played already of, assassins and kidnapping and drug deals, and I want to kind of embrace the fiction that we've built for ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's way too much crime with just between our characters for it to not be at least a little bit dark.
Yeah.
Factions within gangs. So I guess that's a question. What rules do the gangs enforce if they see themselves as law enforcement? Like whose laws?
That's a good question.
Like, I'm guessing probably not the aristocracy's laws.
Unless we've adopted the habit of dueling to stave off the worst of the gang wars.
That could be interesting. I don't know. Like, you're the gang leader, so
I'm a gang leader.
that's true. And like, you're a new gang leader, so
yeah.
So I guess the existing gangs, they might. Like, that actually seems like a thing that they would do. Right?
Or it could be like gladiatorial style, one-on-one combat, or yeah, I don't know.
It's like in this sort of limited space, and I don't know. I'm thinking of the below as being pretty crowded, but that's not necessarily the case.
Well, I like that idea.
But yeah, I think you wouldn't want all-out gang warfare, and even the gangs wouldn't want that.
Yeah, totally.
So maybe ways to sort of limit the destruction would come up, and dueling could be one of those. So has Zen gotten involved in any of these duels?
Well, I'm thinking the fight that you stood up to him in was maybe our first altercation, and everyone was like, "Why are you bringing a whole gang to fight a whole gang? That's not what we do, you idiot."
This is where I like, no, stop.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you how duels work.
Right. Yeah, I think we came in without that context, and had to be schooled on. We had to like figure out how to do a duel and have a champion and do all that stuff, and ended up winning that fight, but kind of went sort of flubbed the social situation so badly that we don't look super good in the aftermath, even though we won. Yeah, that's fun. Violent social awkwardness.
Yeah.
Which sort of feels like an analog of my real life, but that's okay. Well, maybe not. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
So yeah, my powers first manifested when I tried to stop you from like just attacking Mercy's gang with all of
what did that look like? How did they manifest?
That is a good question. Let me look at this.
What powers do you have? You have
like,
what does chimera mean in this context?
I'm not. I almost want to say like shape shifting of some kind.
Okay.
It's literally just a word in the book. Like there's no
there's no
how you should take it
at all. You just have to like make it up.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look like any of the others talk about shape shifting. That's probably the best interpretation.
I think Dreamwalk is okay. So it's not prophecy because prophecy is a different thing, but it's maybe almost like psychology. Maybe like someone might actually come to me and be like, "Hey, can you look at my dreams?"
Oh yeah.
And what's up?
That could be fun. You're like our primary therapist.
Right, yeah. And like, people's dreams sometimes have absolutely nothing to do with their reality, so I probably misinterpret things a lot, and that's why my gifts aren't fully under my control.
That's so good. I love it. And malediction just means sickness, right?
Malediction, yeah, I think it's like is it like cursing? Something like cursing someone or hexing someone?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just gonna look at the dictionary word. Oh yeah, magical word or phrase uttered with the intention to bring about evil or destruction, a curse.
Okay, that's definitely what I did.
Wow, I did not know what that word meant.
Yeah, so I said some sort of, magical word to stop your gang, and it's probably just trying to literally just stop them in their tracks, and probably caused some kind of like pressure thing that people probably had like bleeding, bleeding from the ears and nose, that kind of like from the like being hit with that wall of pressure.
Yeah, that's cool.
So now I know to be careful with maledictions.
And I think we know that Zen has green blood because of that.
Cool, yeah.
He doesn't have a nose, but he can definitely bleed out his ears. I assume he has ear holes. I don't know. Now I don't actually. I'm gonna say he has ear holes because otherwise that's weird. I guess his auditory sensory could be his skin. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, overpressurized. Maybe it came out his eyes. That's real gross.
It is.
Oh, something I should ask ahead of time, maybe as like a request for Vale. I don't know. Oftentimes, I find myself like slipping right into like body horror topics and like describing things in kind of a gross way. Is that something I should strive to avoid? Is that particularly upsetting for anyone? Like gross body stuff happening?
I imagine there may be a little bit of that for Omega as well, in the idea of the cybernetics and cybernetic replacements of limbs. So I don't anticipate getting gory with it, but I think it's kind of there.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on being gory either, but I thought I can still limit it if anyone's uncomfortable with that.
I'm okay with it. You may want to ask again next session because we'll have different people. But
good point.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it in principle, and if like anything crosses a line, I'm happy to let you know.
So I think we actually have everything set up now. Now that it's 9:15, I guess why don't we take like a 5-minute break and then come back and then play for like a little over a half hour and maybe get a few scenes in.
Okay.
So I guess we can start actually framing scenes now. And there was a list of like what you do in order to frame scenes. But I remember that the first few, it was like just go with your character's everyday life. I feel like we would probably all deal with Spider, or not Spider, the Spider is the with Lenny at some point, right?
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. If you have things you want to buy or sell that are not easy to find, which most things aren't, probably in the below.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the person you come to.
Cool. And a way to gain a token is to hook you up with something you need, or vice versa.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I have an idea. I wonder if gang leaders are mostly recommended or recognized because they have smuggled in a pin or brooch or something that aristocrats wear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Zen has to get one of those to, before he can be respected by other gangs,
Mm-hmm.
So that could be something to follow.
Sure. Do you want this to be? I mean, so if we're doing this scene, do you want this to be like are you coming to me to ask for one, or are you following up on a conversation we've already had?
Well, that's a good question. Let's see. We actually wound up with 0 relationship connectors. That's interesting.
Oh, within there, yeah. So I mean, I felt like we have the connection through Winky.
Yeah.
And we have the sort of like relationship statements that we have in our relationships, but we don't have the direct relationship connections through the questions. That's true.
Yeah. But maybe we need a go-between. So Jasper is from here, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if is there a version where Jasper's like, look, you don't even have this stupid pin, and I just realized your pronouns are no.
If you ask me, my pronouns are no.
Yeah, that's great.
I didn't even see that before.
I didn't notice. That's terrific. Is there a version where you beat up Zen's gang, stood up to them, and then made some sort of off hit, like you don't even have a stupid pin, and Zen was like, well, okay, how do I get one? Or would she, or they,
Yeah.
sorry, does Jasper not?
It's good, yeah. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't just put no there. I just thought that's kind of like what the character would answer if you asked them what their gender was.
No, I like it. I can just use they. That's fine.
Yeah, so Jasper wants to keep the peace. And even though they kind of want Zen's gang just to leave, it's better to have them assimilate than to keep doing the stuff they're doing, like attacking, when they should duel and things like that. Right. So I think they're willing to help them kind of learn the appropriate ways to do this.
Ooh, maybe we need signet rings so that we can send messages and challenge people to duels and things like that.
Yes. That way they know it's from you, right?
Mm-hmm. Just punch into the wax.
and like that's part of, that's, I wonder if maybe that's how you win a duel. You like leave a mark on their face and.
Oh, dang. Yeah, although I imagine a lot of duels may also be to the death because it's a dark and gritty setting.
That's like a kind of friendly duel.
Yeah.
Do you
minor disputes?
Do you get your own signet made that's like your gang symbol, or is it like about having one that's like of a particular aristocratic family? Like,
like it has to be stolen.
Yeah, like everyone has a stolen logo, like the Coca-Cola family or the
You like deface it slightly to show that it's yours, or is it no? Or is it like no? I am just gonna take this thing and now it's mine.
Yeah, we're just appropriating aristocratic signet rings, and you have to like find an aristocratic family that isn't already in use down here, and specifically get one of their rings.
Oh yeah, because you don't want the same one as another gang. Right.
But I'm sure there are dozens of families, and they all have their own unique symbol. So yeah, I could imagine the scene opening with Zen going to Jasper, saying something like, look, I get it. I stuck my foot in it. How do I fix this? What do I need to do?
Well, for one thing, the next time you want to fight another gang, you duel them, but what the right way to do it, you have to send them a message, and you don't even have the ring, so you have to
I have some rings. I mean,
no. Like the big shots have, with their initials or some kind of family thing on it that every family's got a different one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So all the gangs have like that too, but they don't just make them up. You gotta take them from the big shots, right?
Okay.
Or you gotta, buy them from somebody who did take them. But like, that's the first thing.
But if I don't have a ring, I can't challenge a big shot to take their ring.
And you can.
So I should buy one.
You could steal one, or you could buy one. Either's good.
Do you know anybody who might trade in stolen rings?
Oh, well, you've met Lenny, right?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, Lenny. You know what? If you're gonna do this right, let me help you. I will take you to Lenny and explain to him what you need.
I also realized we should probably establish whether you understand sign language or whether one of my lieutenants is translating for me.
Which do you think would be cooler? Actually, I kind of like the idea that you have someone with you who maybe they never speak, like when they're doing this, they never speak on their own. They never say like any of their own, just straight translation from you.
Yeah, which will make it fun if I talk shit about them.
Oh shit! Is this Squid Boy?
No, he's too little.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll figure that out. But okay. Well, yeah. All right. I'll have to go see Lenny then. And now I know what I need. Sorry for. I don't even know.
Yeah.
This is way more complicated than I thought it would be.
What did you think you were going to do? Just come down here and take over and everything would be great?
Yes, that's how it works everywhere else.
Not here.
Okay, I get that.
And yeah, I will take you to see Lenny.
I appreciate it. Sort of that angry gratitude.
Yep.
Fine, thank you.
Angry gratitude and angry helpfulness.
Great, I love it.
Awesome. So Lenny.
So yes, so I think you find a guy hanging in this like diner. This like we haven't talked a lot about the way this like space station is situated in the broader universe and like its relationship to like whether like old Earth is a thing or whether it still exists or whether any of us have any relationship to it or we're just like completely unattached from it. And the way I'm picturing this, and it doesn't have to be exactly this, but I think the kind of like thing I'm trying to evoke is that like it's like the sort of like the old Hollywood diner where people would kind of like have their like get together and make their deals, and it doesn't actually have to be that, right? But it's for this setting whatever evokes that kind of like nostalgic deal making media image in our culture. Like that's what this diner is.
Okay. It's
right?
definitely something from the above, right? That like
from the above or from the outside, right? Like from like it's definitely like a planet side thing, I think. Okay. Like it's a thing that's like that like that takes us back to some particular planet, and like part of me kind of likes it being like a Hollywood diner, and like none of us have any like meaning if this is like a TV show, like the audience knows what it is, and like maybe there was like an Earth human who like it's supposed to evoke that nostalgia in the audience more than it is necessarily in us, I guess is my point. And you kind of like walk in, how sometimes when like in like a sci-fi show or you'd see this on Star Trek a bunch of times, right? When like they suddenly find themselves in a place that it does not look like a sci-fi setting, and the lighting shifts a little bit, and it's like, wait, how did the crew of the Enterprise end up in whatever? So I think like the audience gets that reaction, but for us, it's just kind of this place we're not as surprised by it. But I like kind of evoking that like piece of like nostalgia somehow.
I don't have a problem with Hollywood Diner.
Yeah,
great.
Nice.
Great. So so like, you know, I think it's kind of like a busy place. I'm not the only one who does business here, but I'm probably the only one who does this kind of business here.
Are you just like in a back booth, or do you have an office?
Yeah, I have a booth. I'm like, I definitely back booth. I don't own this place. I'm just a guy that hangs out and like, I mean, I know everybody. I know the owner. I probably slip them. I pay them something to be able to work out of their establishment, but they also get something out of it too, because clients come in and they got to buy a sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, well, you're gonna sit down and not order a sandwich or at least a soda.
Okay. Cool.
Right. So, like, I guess what do the two of you do when you walk in?
I think there's got to be some kind of like code, right? To ask if you're like, I come in and I ask. I think I just ask if you're in, right? And
yeah, I think yeah.
I said, you know, there doesn't need to be a code for that.
Yeah, everyone knows Lenny hangs out here. Like, it's not a.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
I'm above board. I'm a legitimate businessman.
Yeah. I mean, you know, further below, you're.
Yeah. You know.
Less legitimate than anyone else.
I just get people what they need. So, what do you need?
He needs a signet ring. He doesn't even know what a signet ring is, but he needs one.
He needs a signet ring. Do we know? I mean, we know each other, Zan.
Yeah. I think.
Maybe not.
Oh, sorry, you chopped up a little bit there.
I was just saying, like, I think we know each other. Maybe not well, right?
Yeah, but sort of a note of like, I've been meaning to come see Lenny because everyone talks about Lenny, and like, oh yeah, eventually I'm going to need to get stuff that is hard to get, and I've probably been here for a few months. You know, our gang has been setting up at the defunct industrial facility that we took over, and
so I say, you need a signet ring, Zan?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you need a signet ring. I thought you. So, because you know they're not so easy to come by.
Does that mean expensive or dangerous?
Little girl.
I mean, number 2 makes for number 1.
Yeah, that's true.
They come from the above, and if you want it to be, look, there's a few things. Number 1, like, you got to make sure that no one else is using it.
Right.
Which means knowing what all the other gangs are using. That I think I can work out.
I would put money on you knowing which rings are in use.
I can, and if I don't know all of them, I can find them out. I'm not that we can do, but that kind of area specialty knowledge is baked into the price. So that's number 1. Number 2, you got to get them from above, because the kids that come down here, you know, with their own, they use them down here too. And you take them off one of them, they're just going to get another one, and you're both using it, and it's a mess. And it won't actually get you what you want from the other gangs. It's got to come from above.
Okay, I understand.
So, with all of that, I think I can do it. So I kind of want to tap my greedy and ambitious weakness. I'm not sure exactly how this works mechanically, though.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, how exactly, like, basically what I want to do is like both try to take a little bit more from Zen than I could maybe than this is really worth, and also get a hold over him to be like, to have his gang in my pocket.
Well, yeah, I think that could pair with the fact that a rival gang disputes my territory, my weakness. I don't know how we can play those off, but like, yeah, Zen is in a position where, not that he's necessarily being tricked, but he knows he's over a barrel and just has to pay it.
Right.
And that might, I just don't know how we resolve that.
So the way weaknesses work is by using a weakness, you're inviting someone else to cause trouble for you, which gets you a token.
Right.
And the way you use tokens is that you can spend them and use your strength or your scrutiny question to like not have any complications, just have it work.
Oh, okay. So tokens arm your strengths and scrutiny. Okay.
Yeah, and you get them with weaknesses.
Right. So I guess what I'm asking you. So first of all, like, what's our currency down here? Like, what are we using to like? Okay. Here.
Is that a cultural question? Maybe I should answer that.
Yeah. I don't know. But look, I mean, look. At the end of the day, whatever it is, I'm asking you to owe me big. I think in a way that you recognize as unreasonable.
Yeah.
And so like the sort of just looking at the way like I was just looking at some of the weaknesses and flaws thing is so the question becomes like, how do you react badly?
Oh yeah.
Well, you could react badly, or one of the situations could react badly.
Right.
And cause
Yes. I mean, like, the gang reacts badly, or just like, I mean, it doesn't have to be a situation like Rich. If you have a sense for how like the setting is like reacting badly, a third party eavesdropping or something like that's like reacting badly to my like overweening sort of like greed and sense that I can this new immigrant to our space station.
A couple things that could object. One is not really working against Lenny, but I could imagine some other gang might be wanting to drive the price even higher, right? Because then they keep hold of their stuff, and you could be offending the spirits just by being so greedy. And
sure, I like that.
Yeah, what are the spirits like? Oh, they're ghosts, so they can have their own opinions.
Exactly. I mean, they see that Zen and the unnamed gang could potentially be more beneficial than the other gangs. So, yeah I think, how do they manifest? I think that the table that you're on just starts to vibrate a little bit. I just scared the crap out of my dog.
Oh, that's bad. Lenny, whatever you're doing, I would stop now.
I think Zen is just like, what is going on?
We're on a space station. Things vibrate and shake. It's
spirits.
Inertial dampeners don't always work the way you expect them to. This thing's a bucket of bolts. Don't worry about it. So if we got a deal, I'm not sure what our deal is.
Look, this price is outrageous, and I can't. Like, I think he like slams his fists on the table. If I don't get it here, I'm gonna get it from somewhere else, and you can either make this a deal that works or not.
Slow down, Zen. Slow down. Okay, how about this? You and your folks, I'll do this for you. and it won't cost you a penny. You and your folks, I have some things that need to be transported that maybe might get waylaid at some future date. You're good at, the rough and tumble, right?
That you're not wrong.
You can defend yourselves. You can maybe defend my shit too.
Uh,
So maybe this can be the start. Let's say instead of a cost, we'll offer each other some gestures of goodwill.
well,
I will acquire this very, very difficult to acquire piece of jewelry for you, and in return, you'll keep an eye on one of my shipments for me.
The price of covering a shipment is, I think, in the right ballpark for what we're talking about. We can do that.
All right. So I don't have anything coming in for a while that isn't already taken care of, but you're good for it, right?
I have to be. I have to be. This is too small. It's too small a space to go back on something like that.
You're not going to pull the crap that Omega pulled on me last month, are you?
What do you mean?
Just, you walk. Day comes, the stuff is there. You got to get it to here, and you don't show.
And this Omega, I think I know who you're talking about.
Omega is Omega.
They didn't do the job.
Said the situation had changed, was no longer worth the risk. But we had a deal. I'm just saying, we don't need to talk about Omega. Let's talk about you. You're good for this. We're building a rapport. I like this. You're enjoying your sandwich at my booth, right? It's a good sandwich. We're breaking bread.
Yeah.
So I'll do this for you, and then you'll do this for me, and then maybe we'll be able to continue doing things for each other.
I like the sound of that. If it plays out the way you've described it, that could make a lot of sense. I'm just surprised that Omega would back out on a deal without a really good reason.
I mean, what happened happened. It feels like maybe this is the end of the scene.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, unless Jasper has something. Jasper wants to...
No, I think Jasper has backed away after seeing the table rattle and is like, okay, you dig your own grave, man. There's the end of scene thing that I forgot to do with the first one, which is like, did you interact with any of these relationships, and did any of them, like, in a significant way, or like learn more about the other person, that kind of thing. I think that Jasper and Zen did, and that Jasper decided to help Zen angrily.
Yeah, I also think that I'm not like, I think I was like, tell me if you think this is plausible, that like Lenny would Zen there and see like what their place was in the system, and like whether they would play fair with me, and also was kind of like, okay, in order to, like, in terms of weaknesses and strengths, like, you need that signet ring I actually want you to have it.
Yeah, because that would help balance out the status quo.
So I think that's
Although I don't think I'll mark mine for Lenny, because I don't think it really factors into the nature of my perception of that relationship.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right, so how do we get Omega in here?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Zen just learned something that surprised him about Omega. Might be an opportunity for that conversation if they're both interested in having it.
Could be.
Do you hang out at the Veterans Lodge?
Do you have the community? There's a Veterans Lodge?
No, I don't think there is.
I mean, there could be.
Yeah, no, I don't see Omega as that. That kind of reminds Omega of the shame of being ousted. So probably not a place they'd go.
How long has Omega been on the station? Did you get here about the same time we did?
Yeah, I think so. Not terribly long. And Omega does not give two shits about this whole signet ring bullshit. Omega's an assassin. That's how you gangs do your stuff. I'm here to work around signet rings. I would. Where would Omega most easily be found? I'm trying to think of some kind of glancing over community. Those are areas of focus, not really places. I would say the easiest place to contact Omega is probably online. Like Omega would be found via VR simulation and has multiple identifications and handles and the like, but you would probably know one from your past together.
Okay.
Yeah. So say that there's some kind of Tron-like VR space that they can enter.
Well, now hold on. Is that like 1980s Tron or 2000s Tron?
That's a very fair question. Which do you prefer?
I mean, the 80s Tron, I think, is a better movie, and the 2000s Tron looks 100 times better.
It does. It does. So I guess we're going with 2000s Tron.
Yeah.
Nice. So everybody's in sleek bodysuits and all of that stuff. And Omega probably does not appear with their cybernetics, but still looks as Too Perfect Face and the like. Do you appear with your gang?
I don't think so. I think this is also a thing that Zen would know not to show up and make Omega feel outnumbered. I don't know if that's a accurate impression, but Zen would not want to give that impression.
Cool. So yeah, you appear, you kind of materialize. Omega is already there.
I think here maybe my sign language comes with subtitles.
Nice. I like that. Why have you come, Zen?
Well, you're on the station. I'm on the station. We haven't really connected. I thought I would find out why. You came up in conversation today, and I wanted to see how you're doing.
Who is it that brought up my name in conversation?
I'm sure you know Lenny.
Yes.
He was saying a job didn't go the way he was hoping it would, but I'm assuming you had a good reason, and I'm just wondering if there's something I should look out for when I'm dealing with him.
What deal do you wish to have with Lenny?
Well, I've entered into one where I've promised to cover some of his goods to purchase something that I need.
That was a mistake. Lenny lies about the dangers that you will face in moving his product.
Okay. Well, that's good. Knowing that, I will I'll prepare accordingly.
You should deploy your gang asset to handle this job so that you will not be in danger.
Omega, are you worried about me?
No, you are the leader of the gang. They are your assets. Why would I worry about you?
All right. My mistake.
Yes, it was your mistake.
Well, you know where we're set up, I think, in the old factory.
Why did you choose the old factory?
It has a lot of room to spread out. We still have a lot of our high power munitions, and we want to store them safely and not sleep with them under our bunks. On the ship, we had a proper armory,
Mm. on the ship. I miss the ship too.
It was nice. It was nice. I had my own room.
Well, now you have a factory.
Well, yeah, but I share it with half a dozen people, and that's not exactly the kind of space I'm used to. But you should come by sometime and check out the spot.
Why?
Mm,
I'm aware of the schematics of the factory.
well, okay, that's unsettling on its own.
It's easily accessed.
Yeah, okay. Well, I thought it might be fun to hang out and have a drink.
You are too
And
close to your associates, Zin. You should remember that they are killers.
well, I am as well, and we do what we have to do to survive.
Yes.
Anyway, it's nice to see somebody from the old days, and if you want to do your thing on your own, I get it. But if you ever feel like some real face-to-face time, don't hesitate to let me know.
I have a question for you, Zin.
Mm-hmm.
The child. You're using it to produce Mesmer 6, is that correct?
Which child do you mean?
I believe I've heard it called Winky.
Is our connection secure? I assume.
Yes. I'm offended.
No offense meant, but I haven't told anyone about this child staying with us, and I'm a little bit concerned. Is it just you that knows about it, or did you hear from someone?
I did not hear from someone.
Okay. No, we're not processing Mesmer 6. In fact, we're protecting the boy to prevent him being pulled into Mesmer 6 production.
You
That's
neglect your duty and do the opposite?
when the duty is so off the mark, it's no longer my duty. I had to make a judgment call.
What part of the duty was off the mark, Zin? I do not understand.
I see a difference between targets who are adults who've made their own choices and a target who is a child.
Is this a physical development or a chronological decision? At what point are they worthy of being killed, in your eyes?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
So you make this decision on a case-by-case basis?
I think I'd have to. People mature at different rates.
Understood. Well, enjoy your factory.
I hope to see you around.
And then he'll sever connection.